Is your favourite YouTube model railway person just in it for the cash and the clicks? That seems to be the opinion of a lot of people following a Roads and Rails post very recently, and I think it's time that we actually got to the bottom of this once and for all. So here we are again then, more drama in the model railway world, or is it more of a storm in a teacup? Let's find out. So BRM are having their yearly show, the Not Wally shows we've all come to kind of know it as. And this year they've announced they're having a YouTube celebrity questionnaire panel about what it's like to be a YouTuber in the model railway world and blah, 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 blah. And seemingly a lot of people have got an issue with this for some reason. And it was one post by Richard Croft over at Roads and Rails who wanted to know what people thought about this whole epidemic of the sudden influx of people that you've never seen or heard of before, all of a sudden having a YouTube channel with thousands of followers and no actual modelling credentials. Previously, hitherto unheard of, as it were. More too was the point of the accusation that these people aren't actually interested in the hobby, just the subscriptions and the monetisation and the members-only content and the special members areas and all the rest of it. And Patreon nonsense and everything else associated with that, trying to earn the big bucks, as it were. Now, as a YouTuber myself, or a model railway person that does a bit of YouTube, I can tell you now that the monetization thing is very minimal. It's tiny compared to the hours and effort that one puts into it. And there's a whole list of reasons as to why I should and shouldn't do this, and why anyone should and shouldn't do this. But I will say this now. To the people out there criticising folks like myself, or Jenny, or Everard Junction, or Charlie at Chadwick, or whoever, saying that you're only interested in this for the money, or for the rewards, or for the freebie models that you get from manufacturers, or you've got allegiances to one manufacturer and not another. Let me tell you this. If it is so easy to do, and it's so simple to do it, then please, by all means, have a go yourself. I'm waiting. In fact, you know what? That's a challenge, right? If you haven't got a YouTube channel, start one. Don't make excuses, well, I haven't got the time. I haven't got the time. No one's got the time, but we still do it. So I haven't got the time isn't an excuse. I haven't got the equipment. Bullshit. When I first started, I had a crappy little camera on a really old potato phone, and it still got me a few thousand subscribers. So there we are. So again, equipment and no time, not an excuse. Get your channel started. And there's two outcomes of this which we can look forward to seeing. One, we're either going to get loads of cool new channels with great, interesting content and more people enjoying the YouTube model railway community, which is fantastic. Or we're going to see a lot of loudmouths shut the f up, which is just fantastic. So I got looking at this thread for Roads and Rails and noticed a few comments mentioned me and my friends. Now, normally I just let it go, but I thought, well, you know what? People are talking about me because they seem to think that they have the right, as it were, just to pass wide sweeping judgments on a person that they don't actually know. What you see here is an embellishment, a character, as it were. And that's often the way with a lot of the YouTube celebrities or YouTube, I say celebrities. First of all, one can't set out to be a celebrity or to be recognised or to have any sort of notoriety. That's ridiculous. That's not how it works. If you put yourself forward and people will either go yes or no. And with me, to a certain level, people have said yes. So let's have a look at these comments. Go through them and try and answer them, really. When you've got comments saying that Charlie at Chadwick Model Railway was it desperate they called him? They call him desperate or something like that? We'll have a look anyway. Let's have a look at these comments. So first up, we've got a comment by Tom Marshall from Buggers Kelly Railway. And Tom is I consider Tom a good friend of mine. We speak all the time at shows and we're private and whatever. So let's see what Tom has got to say in direct response to what Richard's post said. Now, I'll put this on slow scroll so you can read it at your own leisure, but I think the ins and outs of what Tom is saying here makes a lot of sense. He was invited. He didn't approach this magazine and ask to be a part of this panel. That's not how Tom works. He's not that arrogant. he was asked, and he wanted to use this opportunity given to him to better explain what YouTube means to him. He speaks about the YouTube online community being a way of for him to share the hobby, because going to a real model railway club, a real life model railway club that is, isn't an option for him. And I think that is actually very, very valid. And I do actually agree to a large extent with Tom. This is very much so a community. And I think that anyone that wants to sort of take a whiz on that and just diminish it to the whole you only want to get clicks and money from it is really, really just nasty, to be honest with you, and completely baseless. I don't think it's fair, and I think what Tom says needs to be heavily considered. It is a model railway club. People go on and on about model railways being good for mental health, and the moment someone tries to reach out and make it a better place for everyone, they get lambasted and accused of just trying to get money off people. So, yeah, which is it? But this comment from this user really did irritate me, because he says Charlie is desperate and will go to any length to make himself number one. First of all, Charlie has been voted YouTube champion by a separate magazine for, I think it's 4 years running now, and that is a completely public vote, despite what a lot of bitter, self-obsessed wankers would have you believe. It is not fixed. It is completely done via public opinion and voting. So the fact that he's won it 4 years running is just because that many people like the guy. And I do consider Charlie a friend of mine. I've met Charlie dozens of times. We've had loads of conversations privately and in group chats and everything else. He's a great chap, and he's lovely. He really is. And that is why he gets the votes, and that's why he gets the views, because people like Charlie. And he's a little bit different in real life. Like I said before, what you see on camera is an embellishment or a polishing, or in my case, sometimes a dressing down of who the real person actually is. So to say that he's desperate is just completely baseless, because what are you basing that on? Honestly, you don't know the guy. You just see a few videos, which again, as I've just said, are an embellishment. So what can you say? I mean, Charlie doesn't have his hands out for freebies left, right, and centre, and making reviews left, right, and centre, and trying to get the clicks from that way, and sensationalising things, which we'll get onto in a bit, by the way. He just makes content that he thinks people will enjoy, and that needs to be respected. And in the YouTube environment, doing what you want to do because you love doing it is risky, because that is not how YouTube rewards you. Next up, we have a comment by Eric French, who a lot of you may know as Underground Eric. Now, I've met Eric several times. We've spoke online a few times. And whilst I don't think we're on each other's Christmas card list, I certainly wouldn't say that we're enemies or unfriendly towards each other. I just think we just don't run in the same circles, as it were. But I think what Eric says here actually makes a hell of a lot of sense. There are people who are out there who have no sort of modelling credentials. They just have a train set, and then they think they can use that as an excuse to get money off people. So there are some people out there that are doing this, and they're following suit from what other people are doing, thinking, well, I've got a model railway which I've just bought from somebody. I haven't built it myself. I bought the model railway, and I'm now going to use that model railway as a way to get free money, which is a bit despicable, to be fair with you. And he's right. You are just a person with a train set. Calm down. Next up, this chap seemed to think that all celebrities are up themselves and only in it for themselves, constantly changing between manufacturers and then soon slating those that they no longer get affiliations to. Also, a world of railways promoting YouTube guest speakers at an exhibition is new, and another reason for those so-called celebrities to go, look at me, look at my layout, that I don't even exhibit. This just seems like a bit of a baseless rant, to be honest with you, by a person that is outwardly a bit bitter and a bit jealous that they perhaps never made it or don't have the stones to attempt to make it. Tom actually replies to this comment later on and explains what I mentioned earlier about wanting to use the hobby as a way to reach people and to share what he does. Saying that people that you've never met are up themselves is really, really sad, and I hope that whoever hurt you apologises and that you can move on. And this chap seems to think that the only good layouts are the ones which can be exhibited, which is just silly, really, isn't it? That's not a sensible opinion to have, so why would you say it unless you've got some personal sort of vendetta against people that do like to have their own home personal modelling life? Very interesting comment to make, and it'd be interesting to explore the psychology behind this one. I am not qualified, but it's just an interesting thing to say to somebody. Eric French pops up again saying there are some gorgeous layouts which can't be exhibited, and he is absolutely right. So I shall leave it up to you good people to determine which of the two people in this instance is talking sense and the other one is talking, well, broken biscuits. Now, Tom speaks out about a lot of people rushing content out and trying to beat people out of the gate just for the views and the clicks. And unfortunately, this is part of the game. This is how YouTube works. It does not reward ingenuity. It does not reward moralistic standpoints. It rewards first come, first served mentality, no matter how dirty or sloppy that content may be. So the people that do spend time crafting, lovingly making a video, and I know because I've done this myself, often get left behind for the more sensational and let's say, less morally integral tagline, shall we say. So yeah, it is unfortunately just part of the game, and it's something we have to deal with, and we'll speak about that more later on. And finally, this chap who no longer watches myself or Jenny because there's too many advertisements. Well, we'll speak about that in a minute as well. And he claims that the stuff we get sent, we don't actually use it. We're just doing it seemingly for the money, the views, the clicks. So let's answer this question a bit more personally, shall we? Because this is rather irritating to see. So, too commercialised, too many adverts. Now, this is not necessarily a reply to the individual who made the comment. That's fine, you can talk his opinion, cool. But this is a theme which does rear its ugly head quite a lot, and I am tired of hearing it. So here we are. Here's the score. YouTube does not reward integrity. It does not reward honesty, and it does not reward genuine thought. What YouTube rewards is instant gratification, as is obvious with the introduction of the short stuff. Hate short form content. Disgusting thing, but that's just me. The fact that channels like Mr. Beast can be the #1 in the world and the content is just sickening. It's just empty. There's nothing there other than for children to watch and go, that's good, and scroll endlessly. Doom scrolling, I believe, is a term for it. Now, rolling back to modern railway stuff, when you are a content creator, and I will say content creator because you create content for the platform, it's not a buzzword, it is the title of what actually happens. When you make content, you have to take time from your own personal life, okay? I am a father, so I've got full-time dad duties and family duties and everything else, and all the other stuff that you guys have to deal with or have to deal with at home. I'm dealing with that, Charlie's dealing with that, Jen's dealing with that, Tom is dealing with that. They're all dealing with it together. Okay, that was a railway guy, whoever it is you like to watch, or idolize, or whatever, they're all dealing with their own personal stuff. First thing out of the box, right? That is it. Second, I've also got a full-time job which I need to deal with, so there is that. And there's only so many hours and days in a week, so I really do have to use my own free time to bring this content to the good people out there that choose to give up their own personal time to watch it. And that is very important to me. You're not just numbers on a screen. And I'm kind of quoting what Chris from abroad in Japan said very recently. I'll link his video down in the comments. And he's right in what he says. But you do have to give up your own personal time. And you folks out there are not just numbers on a screen. You are real people with thoughts and opinions. And sometimes those thoughts and opinions can be quite nasty. That's fine. I guess that's just human nature. But for those of you that genuinely do love the content that I make, and I enjoy talking with you folks in the comments and at shows as well, I often meet a lot of people at shows, and it's great to see that. And I have no air of arrogance about me. I don't do the whole "do you know who I am" thing, which is ridiculous. I was actually having a funny conversation with Laurie actually about that at Getz when he pulled that card only once and it bit him in the arse, which is really funny. So if you see Laurie at a show, ask you about the one time he played the "Do you know who I am" card. It's quite funny. But YouTube is a race, and you've put your valuable, irreplaceable time into crafting and making a video on a subject that you feel passionate about or something you want to share with people, and you've probably spent hundreds of pounds doing it if you've gone to an event, because you don't always get a free ride, as it were. You do have to pay for petrol, hotel rooms, whatever to get to this year. That cost me, all told, 400 quid. And that's travel fares, and that's food and hotel accommodation. Yes, the guys at Getz were at Home and Mag were fantastic and did allow me to enter without paying the entrance fee, but that's superb of them, the gentlemen as it were. But that's only 15 quid. So rather than 415 quid, it cost me 400 quid, which is a lot of money. That is a hell of a lot of money. And if that video I spent 2 days filming, editing and producing fails, or doesn't do as well as it should do, because it was a good video. No one else has done a video quite like that one on Getz. They're all the same format of silence, just filming the layouts for people to look at, and that's fine. I think I did something different there. I spoke about what I liked about 5 layouts. Actually, there's a bit of a funny one there. If you go back and watch it, you'll notice there's actually 6. And I did that on purpose because I wanted people to think, oh, he's put 6 in, and then start making comments. Not one person in, I think, over 5,000 views has picked up on that. So yeah, go back and watch that one and see if you can pick up on it. Anyway, so you spent time, money, effort making this video and it fails. It's disheartening. It really is disheartening. And to say that someone is, what's the word I'm looking for? Not dishonest, but to say that someone is of ill repute because they choose to monetize their videos or have a sponsor or an advert for a sponsor which helps support them and support the content they make, that's ridiculous. If you're one of these smart asses that uses a ad blocker to watch YouTube, you are a thief. It is as simple as that. Part of YouTube's terms and conditions is that you watch the advert served to you, and if you use an ad blocker, you'll be banned or whatever. So you're not being clever, dancing around it, you are a thief. YouTube is not a free platform. Nothing is free. Nothing. And as for too many adverts in a video, here's something that all the content creators out there will actually know. And as I said at the start of the video, if you are brave enough to start your own channel, you think it's so easy, if you get to the point where you are lucky enough to be monetized, you will notice that when you make a video, YouTube puts in automatic ad slots. You can't turn them off at the start or the end of a video. You have no option over that, but you can turn off adverts in the middle of a video. Now, do you know what happens to your video when you turn off what's called mid-roll adverts? No, YouTube does not promote it as much as it should do, because your video will not make YouTube any money whatsoever because you have removed the ad slots. Yes, I have tested this over several videos. So you leave the ad slots in. And all of a sudden your video starts being shared, because that means there's more opportunities for YouTube to show an advert to somebody, and they might just spend some money with one of their sponsors. That's how the whole thing works. If you don't like seeing adverts, may I suggest YouTube Premium? I bought YouTube Premium 3 years ago and I've never looked back. Since they really did get aggressive with the whole unskippable ad things and the countdown timer, it's horrible. And that's a different argument for a different day entirely. But it is nevertheless where we are. So it's a race, and you need to have your videos be shared and be clicked on, because otherwise you are wasting your own time. And that's disheartening when you spend effort and time and money making content for people to watch, which they don't actually have to pay to see, by the way. All right, you might have to watch an advert, and you can skip over the sponsor adverts in videos. You just knock it forward 10, 20 seconds, and that's it. If you've got a problem with that, I think the issue is with you and not with us. Maybe look inwards on why you think people don't deserve to have some sort of remuneration for their hard work, and why you are entitled to have completely free entertainment for nothing. So you've got to make your videos clickable, which means having an engaging title or a thumbnail, which does, unfortunately, sometimes mean you have to sensationalize the subject matter, or you have to embellish, not lie, embellish a little bit. And it's not clickbait. Clickbait is where the thumbnail and video title promises something and it doesn't deliver on it at all. Embellishing or adding an air of mystery to a thumbnail isn't clickbait. That is what needs to be done. And I, for one, hate it. I have no joy whatsoever in knowing that I have to create a thumbnail which is going to be questionable, or a title which is going to be questionable and upset people, because if I don't do it, YouTube, the algorithm, all hail the algorithm, will not share that video because it doesn't tick the boxes, and people won't click it if it doesn't tick the boxes. So it really isn't our fault. We are doing our best here. And of course, there's always going to be the one bitter, sad individual out there that goes, well, why do it then? Why bother doing it? And that's a good question, to be fair with you. Why would we bother doing it if it's so bad? Because it isn't. It's a lot of fun. Like Tom said, it's about having a community of friends and people you can reach out to and talk to. It's fantastic. It is, in a way, its own model railway club. It's great. And it just so happens that my channel has I think 4,000, something like that, subscribers, and some of my channels have more, some have less. And that brings us on to our next and final subject, the rise of channels which don't actually seem to have any, what's the word I'm looking for, modeling credentials as such. They have seemingly purchased a layout from wherever, and whilst they might not be taking direct credit for it, they are, what's the word I'm looking for, they are riding the wave, if you will, and they are using that to monetize their content, which isn't really their content. If you think about it, they bought it in. To put it another way, it would be like me sharing videos and pictures of Charlie's model railway, saying it's mine, and even if Charlie said that was okay, it's still not mine, is it? I haven't put the work in, the hours, the labour. So am I truly deserving of the attention that I'd be getting if it wasn't my own work? Long-term viewers of the channel will know I've built half a dozen layouts since I started this model railway journey, from American to Steam to Fantasy to all sorts. I've done various scales. I'm just starting 009 as well. I'm building a round the room layout as well as my shunting layout over there and the 009 layout over there. So yes, I do think I'm qualified to speak about model railways. Jenny, for example, Jenny Kirk has had a channel for, I think, close to a decade now, and she has got videos on every subject you can think of, and they are very well put together. And yes, she chooses to monetize her content because, let's face it, YouTube are going to put the adverts in there anyway. Let's be clear on that. They're going to put the adverts in there anyway, so why wouldn't you get a few quid back if you could? Anyone would, and you'd be stupid not to. And she gets approached by private companies to sponsor her videos, which again is entirely her choice. You don't have to watch those adverts, you can just skip over them. So that's the end of it. Really, you are under no obligation to watch the adverts within the video, which is skippable. And the adverts which YouTube put there, you can either wait and skip them, or you can buy YouTube Premium. That's it. As always, folks, I want to know what you think, and let's try and keep this sensible, please. Any comments which are nasty or vicious, they're going to be deleted, folks, and you'll be blocked from the channel. So please have a think about what you say before you say it. I am not taking aim at anyone here. I am just fighting my own corner and the corner of my friends, because a lot of them won't speak out on this. They won't feel the need to speak out on this. That's fine. But when people think they can just spurt off comments on Facebook endlessly and nothing's going to get done about that, that's unfortunate, really, because we do see the comments and we do take note of them, and you are remembered. I shall say on that, you will be remembered. Now, if you've enjoyed the video today, guys, please do the whole subscribe, share, comment thing, because it helps the channel grow, helps me keep going, and that's cool for me. Until next time, hopefully this will be a much more cheerful subject than this one. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye for now.
Welcome to Sawyer Models of Lee, your stop for model railway items, locomotives and more. With an absolutely fantastic range of locomotives in O gauge, 00, N, TT and more, you are sure to find the perfect locomotive to fit your budget. Ordering simple, you can either order on his website, go to the shop, pick up the phone, or see him at one of the many trade shows they attend throughout the season. With one of the biggest trade stalls you will ever see at a model railway show. Thanks for your support, boys and girls.